Why, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Let's Make Warcraft Great Again. And this time we're going to tackle one of my favorite subjects, of course. It comes with a fee of a like, comment, and a subscribe. Maybe not in that order, but it would help out. Today we're making the Alliance great again. Boy, how do you make the Alliance great again after their whole problems until now? Because the Alliance is constructed in such a way in which the Horde always stabs them and the Alliance just forgives them. And it's awful. And even the things that were supposedly neutral and, to keep it equal in a way, even those get thrown out the window. And we can see that best with Mist of Pandaria, who was pretty equal until the point it became more Horde-centric. And I think this is one of the things. People now complain about how the Horde always gets screwed up, but most of the stuff happens around the Horde. The Alliance is there only to react or get hit, but they're never there to deal out just punishment. And this is a thing we can see even from the RTS games. Specifically, we can see it at the end of the Second War. And, the First War. Well, let's take it like this. In Warcraft 1, we get Stormwind being raised and destroyed, and Stormwindian people, becoming refugees. In Warcraft 2, once the Alliance finally manages to defeat the evil Horde that invaded their land, they put them in internment camps. Yes, in prison. They basically put them in prison. Anybody that would say that the internment camps are slave labor or anything related to whatever American history they're thinking at that point is a big lie. Those were prisons. But still, nonetheless, we get to the point where the Alliance really mostly forgives. When we look at the siege of Orgrimmar, which I think it was the most important aspect between the war between the Horde and the Alliance, we see that, the Horde decides Vol'jin's their new leader, and the Alliance just leaves. There is this little turmoil of sorts between who will take Garrosh and who will make sure they end Garrosh, but it doesn't go anywhere thanks to the Pandaren coming in. Let's look at the bigger war. A bigger war, which is called wrongly the Fourth War, but it shouldn't be the Fourth War, it should be the Fifth War, because Mist of Pandaria is still a thing. But anyway, I digress on that. Battle for Azeroth. Now, the burning of Teldrassil, I'm coming out right now, and I think I said it a few times in my podcasts on the Nerd Jungle and on Twitter, that the burning of Teldrassil had the most potential for storytelling, and that could have been achieved if the Alliance responded back in kind. But what the Alliance got in Battle for Azeroth was really nothing that great. I mean, we take on the Undercity, we fight Sylvanas and stuff, go for the Serpent's Head, but it doesn't really feel that well. It doesn't feel like we've done anything of note there. It's like the Horde gets to destroy Teldrassil, which in lore is an important tree for the Night Elves, and rightfully so, but in-game is a place that people rarely visit anymore. And the Alliance gets to fight Lordaeron and take the capital, the former capital of Lordaeron, and, be awesome, reclaim their lost land. But they don't. Because even though the Undercity is also rarely visited exactly like Teldrassil, we are stuck in the position where the Alliance doesn't do anything in that. It's Sylvanas that destroys the place. It's not the Alliance. The Alliance is just there to get rid of Sylvanas. Sylvanas just decides to destroy the home of her own people. And because of that, we get... These are the examples of why the Alliance really suffers. And because of all the events that have happened until now in all the 5 wars, we see that the Alliance is mostly reactive. And of course, it's kind of hard to build upon stuff like this, because this reactiveness of the Alliance, the way they always get messed with and always get screwed, is also one of the reasons why player imbalance is, faction imbalance more likely, is such a big thing in World of Warcraft. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think cross-faction will help that, but we're not here for that. We're here to make Warcraft great again and make the Alliance great again in this case. We're going MAGA. Who would have thought? So, how would I make the Alliance great again? How would I make Warcraft great again, especially the Alliance part? This is the focal point of this episode of the boys in the blue and gold. And I think the most important aspect of this is making them more active than reactive. Let them be the ones that strike powerful. Don't strike without mercy. Don't have any remorse or quarrels about what's gonna happen to their enemies, because that's how the Horde is usually portrayed as, and that's what the Horde usually does, and that's what the Horde has done ever since Warcraft 1 until this point. The Horde strikes, and the Alliance somehow ends up showing mercy in the end, which I think is very wrong, and it really destroys the power of the Alliance. Now, of course, you're going to have to build the Alliance around somebody. That's how it's going to work. Like how the Horde was built around their numerous war chiefs, and for a good part of Warcraft lore, around Thrall. And we could have had Varian, but Varian's gone now, and we have his son Anduin. Problem is, you have to build Anduin up a little bit more. Like, we got his whole deal where he tries to become his own man and stuff, but you need to build him and make him not like his father. Don't make a copy-paste of Varian. Make him a little bit softer, make him strong as Varian, make him as resourceful and as strongly willed as Varian, but also with the powers of the light and his whole compassion thing. And that way you manage to create a character that's kind of similar to Varian. It's not Varian that's gone, but it's the teachings of the father that pass on to the son. And that's very important. Remember, that's very important. Because next we have this main character of the Alliance. I know, whatever. And now we have to build up the factions around it. And I think many factions kind of suffer from, this thing, that many races of the Alliance suffer from this thing, where they're not really properly built, they're not really made to somehow feel like they're part of the Alliance. The Night Elves, for example, while probably one of the strongest races in lore and quite exceptionally good looking, you get them in a position where they're mostly used as cannon fodder. And I think the burning of Teldrassil could have been used, and it should have been used, to make them more resourceful, more resolve, to make them stronger in their hatred against the Horde. And that would require to give them a more prime time aspect in Battle for Azeroth. That would require the Night Elves, to be more active, to be more in there in the story. Because in the end, the Battle for Azeroth story for the Alliance is basically Jaina making peace with what happened to her father and Arthas again, and uniting the places, But then there's the war campaign with the Tides of Vengeance that could have been used way better and have a way more important, a bigger focus upon the Night Elves and their hatred of the Horde, and more importantly that them wanting to get revenge back. Because if you want to make the dichotomy of the Horde and the Alliance work, you need to have equal losses and equal gains somehow. If it's not this year, maybe the next one. But you want to reach that point where even though one faction loses something and gains another thing, the other one does the same. For example, you can burn Teldrassil and not give the Alliance at least the ability to destroy Sen'jin Village. Or Lordaeron, for that matter of fact. Making Sylvanas be the one that destroys Lordaeron screws over the Alliance because it's not the response in kind. And I think this is the most important aspect. The Alliance needs to respond in kind to any of the slights that the Horde might bring on them. For example, if there's a skirmish that's happening somewhere and the Horde decides we're just going to burn down this village, the Alliance should respond in kind by hunting them and burning down their village. I know it sounds kind of awful, but let's be honest. It's called World of Warcraft, not World of Hug Boxes or World of Peacecraft. If you want to maintain this two faction system, and I hope to God you're gonna do that and not turn into an Korean MMO, you need to have responses in kind where both factions lose and gain stuff. It helps the story. It creates a balance in it, and that way you can show that the Alliance is not a bunch of pansies that go around and they always show mercy and they always forgive, even though they get stabbed 10 times in the back and then in the front and maybe in the sides. It doesn't work like that. Now, to make the Alliance even greater, let's look at what's the thing, their cry. What's the cry of the Alliance? We know for the Horde we got Loktar Ogar, and we got for the Horde. What do we get for the Alliance? Oh, for the Alliance. That's what we get. That's the saying, which is basically a carbon copy of the For the Horde one. But the For the Horde has a powerful and emotional impact, especially if you played the old games, the RTS games, and I know many WoW players didn't, but it has an emotional impact that's gone through the ages. For the Horde, it's powerful. It's there when you go into battle and you say it, you feel it. The Alliance gets for the Alliance in basically Legion. I'm not sure if they uttered that phrase before that, but that's the earliest recollection I have of it. You need to give the Alliance a better saying, something that is also short, can also fill you up with pride, and something that has an emotional connection. The problem is that the closest you can get to that, well, for me, is for Lordaeron. But that doesn't work because Lordaeron's not part of the Alliance anymore. It's part of the Horde. So you gotta give them a saying, something that will move the Alliance players, and something that's cool and will make them do that. Now, aesthetically speaking, there is this weird thing where the Alliance feels more like the good guys and the Horde feels more like the bad guys. And if you're talking to somebody that doesn't really know much about World of Warcraft, they would come with that idea. And, well, it does make sense because that's how it started, and in my opinion, that's how it should go. But leaving that aside, you have to build up the Alliance somehow that they feel powerful. When you go into that select make your own class screen where you select your own race and your own class, you want to feel that the Alliance is important, it's powerful. It feels awesome to pick an Alliance character, make an Alliance character, like it feels to make a Horde one. And it's not only about aesthetics in a way, even though they also count, because remember, the Horde has Blood Elves. The most played race for the Alliance is humans, because it makes sense. They also have the better ratios, in my opinion, but that's subjective. We gotta work on that. You gotta make them feel good, not only in story, but also on the select screen. You want to make people pick the Alliance. You want that moment where they create a character, they have these cool things in their right and in their left, and they have a little bit of conflicted feeling about it because they like both of them, because they're both cool. Now, another aspect that we need to touch upon is the fact that the Alliance gets screwed most of the time. As I said, the Alliance just gets stabbed in the back every time. They always go for peace and treaties. Either it doesn't matter if it's Jaina or Anduin, they always go for that. And even in the moments where, it wouldn't really make that much sense to be at peace. Kinda, But they always go for that, and it never feels good enough, should I say. Because we always make peace once we get our stuff kind of destroyed, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to be the one that gets so close to winning, but then ends up in a peace treaty. We're getting Pyrrhic victories in World of Warcraft as Alliance players, and they don't feel that good in the end. Yeah, so let's make Warcraft great again. Let's make the Alliance great again. I'm not sure this can help. I'm not sure the ideas that I've put forward will be useful or will help if done ever. But we're doing hypotheticals now. Because at the end of the day, we know that Blizzard doesn't have the good writers to do this anymore. But we can always make our own Warcraft. And we can make whatever's left out of World of Warcraft great again.